Yes, let us break bread together on our knees. Let us break bread together on our knees. Let us fall on our knees, turn our face to the rising sun, crying, Lord, have mercy, if you please. The breaking of bread, the coming together. You even feed your enemy.
The South was completely segregated. Black and white lived in separate worlds.
People can hardly imagine now that there were signs up showing colored waiting room was this way and the white waiting room is over here.
These people just cannot in their heads come to understand that not only do we look like you, walk like you, talk like you, we're human like you.
Jackson was really behind what was happening in the other southern states.
Now, I had been very good at memorizing all the Bible verses. A lot of the ones we were given were how to live, like love thy neighbor as thyself, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. But clearly, we weren't doing it. We were a bunch of hypocrites. We needed to change.
There were several grades of activists back then. I mean, you had like the street level, and then you had people in institutions of higher learning.
Tougaloo was dedicated to not just educating, but also what seems to me an experiment in democracy.
You had faculty like John Salter. He challenged his students to think about what are some of the social problems that we must contend with. How are you going to change them?
We decided we would do the sit-in at the Woolworth's lunch counter.
Now, Woolworth was what we called a five and dime. Think dollar store with a food court.
They sold hot dogs and hamburgers.
Everyone shopped at a five and dime. Everyone could afford it. And to not be welcomed as a customer at this one part of the store, the lunch counter, that was morally and legally indefensible. Ann Moody, Perlina, and Memphis Norman, all of whom were Tougaloo students, were going to sit at the counter. And then there was going to be a diversionary sort of picket line down the street. The idea, I think, being that the picket line would divert the police attention while people got seated.
They would be a decoy, and they became the most photographed sit-in in the history of the sit-in movement.
Lois Chafee, who was the house mother, though she was only a year or two older than us at most, she and I were going to be the spotters for the picket line. We would call back to Medgar Evers' office and give a report periodically. Well, the picket line got arrested right away, so we decided we'd just go down and see what was happening. And basically what was happening was all hell was breaking loose.
This was the lunch hour. So students at Central High School had a lunch break, and it was just a few blocks away, so they walked over. This is a very conflicting scene.
I conferred with Ed King, who was the spotter, about should I sit down? And yes, I should. And then Annie and I got pulled off our stools and drug up to the front of the store.
It was very theatrical.
The main weapons were whatever was sitting on the counter. And I mean, this is everything from vinegar to pepper to sugar to sometimes a fist.
At the end of the day, it's about humiliating people. It's to bring a person to their knees psychologically.
The Supreme Court had ruled, I think the week before, that the police of their own initiative could not come into a store to make arrests. The store had to be closed by the manager, and they thought this was just real funny, these police did.
Memphis Norman was thrown to the floor, kicked, beaten, unconscious, blood coming out his nose, mouth. Medgar said, well, should we call it off?
We were committed to sitting there. When it got really looking like we might not make it out of there, I had sort of an out-of-body experience. Your real self just sort of leaves, departs. Surreal, you might say, but I think it's survival. And at that point, survival was in doubt, yeah.
The pictures were shown around the world. By the next day, there are people volunteering, ready to do things. Suddenly we were visible.
I mean, this is not to take away from King, but to reduce the civil rights movement to Rosa Parks and Dr. King makes everyday folks like you and me look like we can't do anything except follow. The students today have to see that they can identify their cause and go change the world. And us old folks, now our role is to have their back.